Hello students, you are all welcome to this virtual class. This is Dr. Shashibala and I'll teach you the subject Company Law and Secretarial Practice. Now, let us first of all understand what are the laws in force in our country. After independence, the first ever law regarding companies which came into force in the country was the Companies Act 1956. This act came into force on 1st of April 1956. It had been a largest piece of legislation passed by Parliament after independence. The act consisted of 650 sections and 15 schedules. Main object of the act is to provide protection to investors, creditors and the public at large. But this Companies Act underwent many changes due to different amendments passed from time to time. The largest piece of legislation which was introduced in this Companies Act of 1956 was Companies Act 2013. This act came into force on 30th of August 2013. The act reflects a paradigm shift in basic philosophy because there were a large number of changes which were introduced in the Companies Act of 1956 during this period. The major features of this Companies Act of 2013 are these path-breaking features are introduction of one-person company, introduction of key managerial personnel, independent directors, video board meetings, removal of all restrictions on managerial remuneration, professional liquidation. So these are the all these things we'll discuss later on in detail. So these are the changes brought about by this Companies Act 2013, and another major change which was brought about was a direction to the companies to maintain their documents in. So before defining what is a company, let us first of all understand what were earlier forms of organizations due to whose limitations this joint stock company or company form of organization came into being. The very first form of organization was sole proprietorship. What was there in sole proprietorship? There was a single person who was the owner of all the business, and he was supposed to carry on all the business activities, and he was responsible, he or she was responsible for all the losses and profits of their form of organization. So the limitation of this form of organization was unlimited liability, means if the losses occur, he or she will have to suffer all those losses, and if the profit is there, then that profit is that of that person. Moreover, there was instability of this form of organization because until and unless that person is hale and hearty, he or she will carry on the organization. But once there is any health issue or any problem, that form of organization cannot be carried further. To overcome the limitations of this form of organization came into being partnership form of organization. In partnership form of organization, though the number of persons who carried on the business increased from 1 to 3, 4 or more, but again the limitation remained the same. Here again each partner had that unlimited liability, and this form of organization also could be carried on until and unless all the partners were there to carry on that partnership. If any one of the partners had to leave the partnership, then this form of organization came to an end. So stability again was not there. To overcome all these limitations, another form of organization was suggested, and that was joint stock company, or simply called company form of organization. In company form of organization, what was suggested that there would be more number of members would be allowed to enter this form of organization, and their liability would be limited. This had been the major advantage of a company form of organization. In earlier form of organizations, there was unlimited liability, means whatever losses were there, those persons all together had to contribute all the losses. But here in joint stock form of organization, company form of organization, the major advantage had been the limitation of liability, that is limited liability. Limited liability means the person who has joined the company, whatever he promised if whatever he promised to share in case of any losses to the company, he will have to pay only that much amount. That means his liability was fixed. There was no unlimited part had been cut out. So this had been a major advantage of company form of organization. Another advantage had been that there was a perpetual succession, means even if the original persons who contributed to form the company form of organization, if all of them had to leave the company will continue forever. So all these been the advantages or the benefits of the company form of organization, which were there to overcome the limitations of other forms of organization. Now, let us define what is a company. The term company has been derived from two Latin words, com and panis. Com means together, panis means bread. In earlier times, people used to come together, share their meals, and discuss their business matters in groups. So, company here means association of persons who took their meals together and discussed their business matters. This was of organization came into being. But if we go into the legal definition of company, in simple terms, company means an incorporated association of persons united for a common object. Now, the term incorporated association of persons has been used here. What does it mean? Company is not simply an association of persons, it is incorporated. Incorporated means a company which has been registered under some law, and a company or an association of persons which has to get itself registered under some law has to fulfill certain basic conditions or essential requirements. If that association of person fulfills those requirements, only then it gets registered as company. So that is why we have used the term incorporated association. So that in itself defines what a company is. If we go into legal definition of the company, Section 2, Clause 20 of Companies Act 2013 says that company means a company incorporated under this act or under any previous company law. Now, what does it mean? Company means a company. Now, company means a company incorporated under this act. This act means Companies Act 2013, and under any previous company law means any other law which was in force before this act of 2013. If any incorporated association has been there registered under any other company law, was the Companies Act of 1956 or any other amended laws in force at the time prior to the formation of Companies Act 2013. So all the companies which were registered under the earlier acts or under this present act, that is a company under Section 2, Clause 20 of Companies Act. So if a company to fulfill certain requirements, so once an association fulfills all those requirements, only then it will become a company under law. So those requirements have to be fulfilled before any association is to come into force as a company. Another definition given by Lord Justice Lindley is a very comprehensive definition as regards companies concerned. Justice Lindley says a company is an association of many persons. So one thing is clear here, that company is not a single person's company. Company includes more than one person. So many persons come together to form an association, only then company comes into existence. Secondly, who contribute money or money's worth. So all those persons, those who come to form the company, they will have to contribute money or money's worth. Then to a common stock employed for a common purpose, and their money has to be contributed to a common stock, and this common stock is known as capital of the company, and this is employed for a common purpose. And the money which has been contributed by these persons, this becomes the capital of the company, and then this capital is employed for a common purpose. It doesn't mean, so इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि कंपनी में जिन लोगों ने अपना पैसा लगाया है उनका पैसा एक कॉमन स्टॉक में जमा हो जाएगा जिसको हम कैपिटल कहते हैं, एंड ये जो पैसा होगा ये किसी कॉमन पर्पस के लिए लगाया जाएगा. कॉमन पर्पस मीन्स दीज ऑब्जेक्टिव्स आर इनिशियली defined by the company when company gets itself incorporated. The next is the persons who contribute to it are members, and then when the persons who have contributed their money towards the capital of the company, they are known as members of the company. So to become a member of the company you will have to contribute your money towards the capital of the company. Then next is the proportion of capital of each member is his share. Now whatever proportion of the capital a person has contributed in money form, supposing there are 1000 rupees is the capital of the company, and a person has contributed 100 rupees, that means that person's share in the company is a 10%. His proportion is 100 rupees out of 1000, means 10% share is of this person in the company. So this is what is meant by proportion of capital of each member in his share, and shares are always transferable. This is the major advantage of company form of organization, which was not there in earlier forms of organization like in sole proprietorship or in partnership. The members were not allowed to sell their share to any other person. Here the major advantage is that shares are transferred. Supposing I have invested 100 rupees in the company, and after a few years I don't want to continue with this company, I want to leave this company, I will sell these shares, my 100 rupee shares, to any other person, and then my name from the register of members of the company will be struck or will be deleted, and the other person to whom I have sold my shares, his or her name would be entered in the register of members of the company. So this is the major advantage of company form of organization. So from these definitions it is clear that company form of organization is an advantageous form of organization which has many advantages in the form of limited liability, in the form of perpetual succession, in the form of transferability of shares, because company now becomes an artificial individual. It has become different from its constituent members. Members are now separate and company is separate. Company is an artificial individual which has a separate legal entity. All the activities, all the transactions will be carried out in the name of the company. अब कंपनी जो है वो एक अलग पर्सन बन चुकी है कानून की नज़रों में. In the eyes of law, company is a separate artificial individual, and all the activities will be carried out in the name of the company itself and not in the name of the members. Members may come, members may go, but company will continue forever until and unless the liquidation of the company takes place. So this is all for today. The features of the company will carry out in other slide.